Morning, everyone. I am Melanie Joy Morales. I am the reporter continuation from the report that has been discussed by Ms. Ruben Sabuda last meeting. So the topic is all about the perspective for literary interpretation. So since this topic is already been discussed by the other group from the other subject, so I don't need to further discuss each perspective. However, this meeting or this time, we will analyze or understand a certain word together to understand each different perspective. Okay, do you get me?
Yes.
Okay. So perspective, again, let me recall. Perspective for literary interpretation is how a story is presented to readers. The different perspectives that the different presented perspectives are the writer's life and times, the reader, and the work itself. The last meeting, Ms. Ruben Sabuda discussed the perspective of the author, the writers itself. So today, I am going to discuss to you the two perspectives, the reader and the work itself. But as what I have said earlier, I will no longer explain or discuss it, but we will together understand or interpret these two perspectives from a certain particular piece. Okay, our story for today is written by William Faulkner, entitled Rose for Emily. Actually, this story is very lengthy. It is very long. But I only present here is the summary. So I wasn't able to I forgot to bring the hard copy of the story. It is divided into 5 sections. So that is why it is very long. So let us start reading the story. Okay, please, understand the story because it is very, interesting. So please, this side row, please read the first slide.
The last member of our aristocratic Pearson family led an isolated life.
The people of Jefferson viewed her as a hereditary obligation upon the town. Ever since the previous mayor limited her taxes, now that she has passed away, people are curious to see the inside of her house, which has been sealed
for 10 years.
Okay, this first slide is from the section 1. So this perspective is a present perspective. This is kapag mo the story flashback. So this is considered present time. Okay, let's proceed to the continuation of section 1. This row, this is
Section 1 reveals that Emily was raised by a controlling father who drove away all of her suitors, believing that none of them were good enough for his daughter. After her father died, Emily led a justice against her. As a show of respect for her aristocratic status, Colonel Sartorius, the mayor of Jefferson at the time, remitted Emily's taxes. He did so by fabricating a story about Emily's father had given a large amount of money to the town. Years later, when the younger generation of politicians began attempting to get Emily to pay her taxes, she refused, telling them to see Colonel Sartorius. However, Colonel Sartorius had been dead for 10 years by that point.
okay, this row, please read the section 2.
Section 2
details an incident from 2 years after Emily's father died. Shortly after Emily's sweetheart abandoned her, a smell began emanating from the house. The neighbors asked
old Judge Stevens to talk to her about it.
However, Judge Stevens scolded
them for
considering
confronting a woman
of Emily's status about smelling bad. So, late one night, a group of men snuck onto
Emily's estate and sprinkled lime around the house
to combat the smell. Around the time, The townspeople began to speculate
that Emily was crazy, citing her reaction to her father's death
as additional evidence. After he died, Emily refused to acknowledge his death for
3 days,
preventing the townspeople from removing the body from the house.
Okay, section 2 presents the flashback or the previous time na basta flashback and section 2. Okay, everybody please read the section 3.
Goes
Okay, 1, 2, 3, read, everybody.
Section 3.
Goes farther back in time.
Shortly after the death of her father, Emily began carrying Homer was big and loud.
Emily was well below Emily's social station.
He also claimed to be disinterested in marriage. At first,
The people of Jefferson were amused by the courtship.
however, some of the oldest residents were offended.
The match between an aristocratic Southern woman and a Yankee.
Despite the pitying whispers from the townsfolk,
Emily remained alone and proud.
the narrator then recalls an incident a little over a year into the courtship.
Emily went to the druggist.
Both tried poison and refused to specify
What it was for.
Most of the town assumed,
She was going to take her own life.
but she did not.
Alright, in this section, one of the most interesting part is that when her father died, Ivan's father is very controlling, and when her father died, she was able to do the things that she wanted. So since she really wanted to be married, so one of the most interesting is that she was the one who courted Homer, diba? Have you observed? So that is the first conflict. The first conflict that's the start of the conflict. Alright, let's proceed to the next part. Everybody, please read section 4.
Section 4 continues the story of Emily's courtship with Homer. As the courtship went on, the townsfolk decided to take an action to prevent it, believing it to the improper. They petitioned the Baptist minister to go talk to Emily. When that failed,
The minister's wife contacted Emily's relatives in Alabama, who sent two of Emily's distant cousins to stay with her. Word soon
Spread that
Emily had bought a man's toilet set of men's clothing.
people assumed that
she and Homer were married.
Homer then left town, and the townspeople assumed
He was
that
waiting for the cousins.
to leave. Once the cousins departed, Homer returned
However, after being admitted to Emily's
Emily's house late one night. He was never seen in Jefferson's again.
Emily herself
Was not seen again for 6 months. When she emerged,
She had pulled away and her hair had
turned iron gray.
In section 3 and section 4, it gives us a hint of suspension. Diba? From the section 3, in section 3, ang mga siliganiza was curious or being suspicious na napalit sila na rat poison. And here, in section 4, Homer did not return to Jefferson or was no longer seen by the people. Okay, that is quite suspicious. And then, after, this row, please read the slide.
After Homer's disappearance, Emily grew even more reclusive. She hosted China painting classes in her home for a short while. But as the town modernized, people grew less interested in such antiquated skills. The only time the townspeople saw her was when she was in the window in her house. Her servant, Ubi, did all of her cooking, shopping, and housekeeping. However, it was clear to the townspeople that Toby and Emily did not talk to each other, since Toby's voice went rusty, as if from the speech.
Okay, last section, please read that.
Section 5 returns to the present.
which none of them had seen in decades. In an upstairs room, they find the remains of Homer Barron in a bridal suit. The room is covered in dust and appears to have remained untouched for decades. On the floor, beside Homer's corpse, they find a strand of Emily's iron gray hair.
In section 5 is the present time, the present na. When Emily died, the people in the town was able to enter the house na. So they were naglibot nila ang bayay, and then they found out the corpse of Homer in a bridal suit. Grabe sila ka horror. And then that's all. So that is the story of Emily Rose for Emily. So from the title itself, maka-expect baka mo na horror sila. Mr. General, what is your perspective about the title itself?
Rose for
Oh, what
Emily.
are your expectations?
I'm expecting that it's more on a romantic way because there's a rose, and I think the rose is intended for Emily. However, when we uncover this story, it's not about that.
Yes.
It's about a tragic story or a horror like something.
Yes, thank you, Mr. General. Yes, indeed, it is very, mysterious. From the title itself, who would have thought na horror ba ang ika content? Okay, let's have reader's perspective. So, let us have these first questions. What are the key features of the work that strike you? And what does the work make you think about? So let me, provide my answer for this perspective first, since I was the una na nagbasa rin ito. And I will ask you after sa akin. So what struck me most is the character of Emily. If you have noticed in the story, she has unpredictable behavior, and the ending proved that. You will not expect that the story contains horrors from the title itself, as what I have said. Who would have thought that it is indeed a horror, diba? So that makes me think that we cannot judge immediately a certain work merely from reading its title, because this work, that Rose for Emily, makes us realize that the content of a certain story does not depend merely on its title. Rose for Emily, at first, I thought it is a love story. It's a love story or a journey of Emily. But little did I know that at the end of the story, it is different. So I am also struck by the arrangement or the organization of the story. If you are able to search or look for the original story of Emily Rose for Emily, it is very lengthy, and the organization of the story is different. Diba? The common organization of stories may chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, but the story of the organization of Emily Rose for Emily rather is very unique. So it is divided into different sections, and each section has a different type. So dili ka magsisud identify kung kain ang previous, kind of flashback, and kind of present. So for instance, the first section, it shows the present time, and the next section provides flashbacks and so on. Have you observed that?
Yes.
So, well, I find it very unique and creative at the same time. Okay, Miss Movie, in your perspective, as a reader of the story, a while ago we have read the story, diba? So what does the work make you think about as a reader? What does the work make you think?
So basically it is a story about an orphan girl. So I was I thought about what life may Emily experience. So I thought of how hard must her life be, or how hard it is for her to live alone, and being isolated from her community.
Okay, thank you for that expressing. So, you think about the situation or the life of Emily as being alone in her home. Okay, let's proceed to the second question. How does the work make you feel? And what mode does it put you in? Okay, Mr. Kanyal, as a reader, we all read the story. How does the work make you feel?
It makes me feel, interested because the story was a little bit logical. And you need to put your effort in understanding the text.
Okay, what mood does it put you in?
It's all about marriage,
Yes.
and I can see that both Homer and the girl didn't have the perfect relationship. So I feel kind of sad, and the mode of the story is kind of making me feel a little bit disappointed.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Kanyal. Well, for me, I like the plot of the story. It is indeed mysterious, and you cannot predict what will happen next. And as I have said, I love the structure of the story, its organization, and how it was presented. And it is very interesting. And I think there is nothing that I could know. Okay, for me as a reader, it makes me feel sad and annoyed at the same time. First, because of the characters of the neighbors. Have you observed the characters of the neighbors of Emily? It is relatable that our neighbors are truly gossipers. If we don't go outside our house, they will have something to say. And if we don't put too much on ourselves, they might think we are Rusian, or sometimes they might think gamit ka na karasa kung hindi ka mag-makeup, hindi ka mag-plaster sa kabalingan, di ba? Just like the neighbors of Emily, hindi ka magawash, and the people will think, her neighbors will think na she's crazy. They are our big fans. You know why? They always wait for when we are going to get married. Are we pregnant? Do we have a boyfriend or girlfriend? Do you have the same experience with that? Yes. And lastly, I feel sad for Emily's life. She was just a victim of a controlling environment. First, she was controlled by her father. She was not able to be with the person she loved. And the people around her are also huge hypocrites who use their strengths to make Homer refuse her proposal. That is a very sad experience, and we cannot blame her why she killed Homer. Maybe because of her anger or madness, or maybe because she's fed up of everything. Okay, let's proceed to number 3. What did you like about the work and why? Okay, Miss Jen Mira, as a reader, what did you like about the work earlier? Okay, let us have Miss Bertules. What did you like about the work we have to read earlier? Go on. Okay, thank you for that, Miss Bertules. Okay, for me, I like the plot of the story. Same with you, Miss Bertules. It is indeed mysterious. You cannot predict what will happen next. And as I have said, I love the structure of the story, its organization, and how it was presented. It is very interesting, and I think there is nothing that there's nothing that I don't like about the story or the work itself. It is very astonishing plot, characters, settings, which we can also learn about how Negro woman was being discriminated at the time. Let's proceed to number 4. Does the work remind you of an incident or person in your life? Miss Tulaha, please stand. As we have read the story earlier as a reader, does the work remind you of an incident or person in your life? Okay. Thank you, Miss, for that, Miss Donaha. Okay, for me, yes, it reminds me of a very special person in my life who is my best friend. So she had a very controlling mother and she was not able to decide for herself because her mother has planned everything for her that is against her will and that pushed her to run away and decided to make her own life in her own ways. And even though she did not prosper with that decision because she got pregnant and it became a barrier to her study, but she was still forgiven by her mother, so she went home. And also because because of her skin color, people around her were also trying to dictate whom she would choose for lifetime. She had a very first fair skin, and one time she had a relationship with a dark-skinned man. She was criticized because they said she's not compatible with that person. Okay, let's proceed to the last question we have. What is your overall response or reaction to this work? So for me as a reader, I am very amazed. My overall response or reaction for this work is that I am very amazed by the story. From the structure, the arrangement, the choice of words, the characters, and the conflict resolution, it was wholesome. I can still get over the twist it made that brought me to something extra mysterious and intense. And yes, it is a very good story. Okay, how about you? What is your overall reaction to the story? Okay, Miss Kay Royal. What is your overall reaction? Just your reaction to the story. Your overall reaction to the story.
My overall reaction to the story is that it was nerve-wracking and it is good because it is not what I expect from its title itself, and that it has a lot of plot twists and also some of the situations I can relate having in English that are forcing me about it.
Okay. For that, Miss Christine. Okay. Let's proceed to the word itself. Okay. In the word itself, there are three major questions that you can ask. First are questions about the structure of the word. So if you try to understand the perspective of the word itself, you will analyze the structure of the word. So it's questions like, how could the word be classified as to genre or style? So just like the Rose for Emily, we can classify this story as horror. Horror, mysterious, murder. Do you have any idea how can you classify the what?
Thriller.
Thriller, like that. So what expectations do you have about such work? We all have the same expectation, I guess, because from the title itself, it is very different from the content. Rose for Emily, we have expected na it is a love story, it is a journey of a two-person in romantic experiences. However, when the time we read the story, it is different. So it is about the order, or how is the work organized. So as what I have said earlier, the work of Rose for Emily is different from the other stories. It is not divided into chapters or paragraphs, but it is divided into different sections. So there are 5 different sections. So what is the purpose of each part? So each part, every section has different points of view, time evaluation, point of view ng time. There are flashbacks in the other section, present time. In the other section, it shows the flashbacks or the previous experiences. So what is the progression of thought from beginning to end? The problem or the solution. So for me, I think because of the too much controlling environment, the only solution that she made is to home and to never, ano ba? Never go out. So that because of the people to once in a grabe hindi lang mga una-una kan Emily. So she just stay home. So okay, we can also understand or we can also analyze the character or the speaker. When we try to understand the perspective of the word, we have to analyze the character or the speaker. Questions like the setting or situation. So actually, the setting of the story is World War II, something like the time where Negro people are not allowed to if you read the story, the original story, the Negro woman in that story are not allowed to go outside without wearing apron. So that is the setting or situation of the character. In what circumstances or surroundings? So it is in the World War II. So who are the significant characters of the word? So who do you think is the significant character? The story. So Emily or herself. Okay. What kind of conflicts are characters involved in? So what do you think? What conflicts Emily involved in? Okay, Miss Jelly. So what makes what? So if we have observed in the story, there are different conflicts from her father, from controlling society. So, diba, daghan is ang mga conflicts na involved that put her or made her magpatay rahan sila. Siguro, tungkol the pressure na sila siguro na depressed because the people in her neighbor in the story, diba, was trying to dictate Homer na not to marry or to agree in her proposal. So that is why it pushes her to the extent na magpatay rahan sila. Okay, let's go to the last question. You will also try to understand the idea or lessons or philosophy of the word, which is the very important factor when we read a certain word. Diba? We will not read a certain piece without thinking what lessons can we learn from it. So it is very important. For example, what are important experiences in their lives that we can learn most? Okay, Miss Justin Bell, what can you learn? What are the important experiences in their lives that we can learn most in the story of Rose or Emily? In the story of Rose or Emily, what are important experiences?
Important experiences that
We can learn most.
we shouldn't judge others just because we like their song and their houses and in their rooms because we are not sure what they are going through. So in the story, the Rose for Emily, her neighbors are being judgmental about her. Maybe she's doing some bad things inside her house, or maybe she doesn't have money to pay for taxes. That's why she doesn't go out like almost every day. But they fail to acknowledge the fact that Emily is suffering. That's why she doesn't like to go out because she is embarrassed of how lonely she is. And when she goes out, Mommy already said that she's alone. That's why she doesn't frequently go out. And then when people get tired of that thing na once sa katapos frequently outside, you will start to wonder, maybe she did something bad to the community. That's why she doesn't go out. But then when they check inside her house, Miss Emily is already dead.
Okay, thank you for that, Miss Valdez. Okay, for me, the important experiences in their lives that we can learn most is on the characters of the neighbors, diba? Sometimes we are on grabe na tapa, dili ta dapat dili kita mahimo na murag reason sa isa ka tao na dili sa ma-achieve ang isa gusto because of our negative attitudes. Like, sometimes, dili na doon mga likada na doon mga tao na yung ana na doon. Uy, dili doon sa bagay, sa doon sa buha, at mga doon. Dili ta mahimo na murag barriers sa other type of person through our mga words because sometimes words are masakit pa
offensive.
sharper, diba? Sharper than action. Masakit sila. So, that's
Sharper than.
so, the relation of this to the translation, so, as what we all know, diba, it is very important to criticize first before, criticism is important before translation. So, it is important to criticize or understand more deeply the perspective of a certain word so that we are able to translate it accordingly sa ilang perspective. Okay, that's all for my report. May I go on the next reporter?